If you've been following my Colossal build guides until now, you know that I build 3 different sets for each iteration of the Colossal for early game, mid game, and end game encounters. Now for Cybele, that's going to be a little bit different because the first time you encounter Cybele is going to be in the mid game, so there's no point really in making an early game build for a mid game Colossal. So with that in mind, I'm going to change the rules from here on out for all future Colossals. Builds will now be limited to 1 or 2 for each Colossal type, and I'm going to no longer restrict myself on just general sets, and I'm going to start mixing arsenal parts. I'm also going to be adding skills to the build to help make them more efficient as well. So with that in mind, Cybele is the first Colossal we see that's going to be particularly weak to explosive damage. So for that end, we're going to focus entirely on doing as much explosive damage as we can. So with that in mind, we have a Beast Surge cannon and 2 bazooka arms to deal that damage. Now, if you don't have Beast Surge, you can use Ogre Break 2. Beast Surge does more damage per shot, but Ogre Break 2 has much faster firing rate, which almost evens things out. It's also got more ammo to compensate as well. So you can use either one of these, and they'll both be comparatively effective. I prefer Beast Surge because it's less button mashing, and it's also got better weak point exploitation. I'm also using the Ringorni because it's got just the right balance of memory capacity, shooting performance, and femto efficiency to be effective on this build. For the torso, I chose the Auxo with the wing armament because I prefer the extra speed boost. But if you want to use the guard or assault variations, you can definitely do that too. Now, my gun van braces are completely bone stock. I bought these from the shop. There's nothing special about them whatsoever. I'm trying to keep these builds as a baseline for what you can expect if you try to build them without min-maxing them completely. So the damage output that you're going to see is more or less what you can expect if you just build this from shop items. The skill that we're using for this build is Mirage, and I personally do not like this skill. My personal builds often include a lot of melee or shields, and Mirage completely breaks for them. But for gun arm builds, when you can't swap weapons, Mirage does really, really well and is really reliable. And on that note, while we're using a single build, I'm not going to fight all 3 of the Cybeles like I have done in previous videos. I'm just going to fight Cybele Beta because the mechanics of the 3 are essentially the same. They're just different grades of difficulty as far as damage output and defense goes. So we're going to fight Cybele Beta, the most powerful one, to determine whether or not this build is going to work. Now, Cybele is covered in these big red pimples, and we are Dr. Pimple Popper. So the explosive weapons that we're using are going to damage most of the weak points with one shot. If you get it just right, you can end up doing 300 to 400 damage per shot in each arm, and the damage output goes absolutely crazy. The stagger buildup is great too, and Cybele's going to spend much of its time staggered. If you do this on story mode instead of normal or hard mode, it stays staggered pretty much the entire fight. I recorded all of these on normal mode, and it had very little chance to do much of anything. Once you pop all of its little pustules, it regenerates new ones for you to repeat the process all over again. As you take damage, you're going to start dealing more damage. Both you and your clone will get a small damage boost as your VP decreases. And once it reaches the max bonus, you and your clone will both start glowing gold. But if you're able to safely tank some of the damage that it deals, you don't have to worry too much about it because it's actually going to benefit you.
I almost had a heart attack.
Now, this build is a sub 2 minute clear easily on any of these Cybeles. It's very reliable and it's a great solid choice. But I think Cybele Omega might come, and if it does, I've got a build for it. This is a very similar setup, but instead of Beast Surge, I'm using the Wrath of God heat-seeking missiles, and I'm using the Zeracroor or Zarek Weiss helm for increased shooting support to maximize the DPS of my Vambraces, my bazooka arms. It's a small change, and DPS isn't going to be greatly increased, but what is going to help is the heat-seeking missiles don't need to be manually fired, and unlike with cannons, there's no firing stance for missiles, so you can actively move while shooting them, allowing you to stay more mobile while still dealing good damage. And even better, it's less memory intensive than the cannon, so you have more build freedom on your torso and legs and such if you decide you want to use different parts. So let's see how this one compares to the previous build.
Don't let up.
Mirage does really well with missiles as well. Slow firing weapons like bazookas, Mirage does well with, and missiles it seems to do well with as well. With the Wrath of God, you can only fire them in full clusters, so it can't really fuck it up.
Keep your eyes peeled and be aware of your surroundings. Nice! I knew I could count on you!
And that's going to do it for the Cybele guide vid. I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed watching, and the next one is going to be a Dreadnought.